welcome to Square 5, Manners and Jazz, the fifth square in our Wrapped in Jamie Crochet Along. My name is Petra, also known as Piva Black Sheep. I am the designer and your host for this crochet along. So let's get started with Square 4. You can read all the background story and the designer thoughts on the website blacksheepcrochet.com. So we start with a magic circle, which I like to start with a cross by crossing over the yarn, get in with a hook, pull through, and then let go as if you would make a slip knot, but keep the circle open, and then just close with a chain. So now some people like to make an additional chain to get started. I just like to keep my first loop a bit bigger. And we have a repeat of single crochet. And don't mind having this a bit bigger, you will see that it will come handy later on. And chain 2. So that's a repeat. Single crochet, chain 2. Just want to pull this a little bit tighter to make it easier to crochet in there. Single crochet, chain 2, and twice more. Single crochet, chain 2, and another one. Single crochet, chain 2. Okay, that's number 4. Pull the ring tight and slip stitch into the tops of the first single crochet. Pull the yarn through and through again. Whoop. Okay, there we go. So we've got 4 corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 single crochet in between those corners. So that's round 1. In round 2 we start with the chain 1, and then I like to work away over my tail as I have for the last 4 squares if you have been following along. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the corner space, and then make sure you find that single crochet and another single crochet into that. So working over the tail or over the end here as I go, so I don't have to weave it in. Always finding the corners. We always have a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the corner, and then a single crochet into that single crochet from the first round. The corner and a single crochet, and we're almost there. One more corner. That's the last corner and our last single crochet for this side, because we started with a single crochet into the corner, and that's where we slip stitch into. So this is not a stitch, this is the chain 1 with which we went up into the next round. So we slip stitch into the single crochet, into the first single crochet of the corner. That is round 2. Look at that, very quick and very easy. And again we chain 1 and then single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. If you find the stitch anatomy a bit difficult, you can use a stitch marker. Just mark the first single crochet you just made, and then it will be easier for you to find in the next rounds. Okay, so in round 3 we single crochet across. So that means we had the corner stitch, and then we have 1, 2, 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 single crochet on each side, and the corner single crochet on each of the sides. Yeah. So this is the single crochet that belongs to the 4th side. So here we have 5 single crochets on each side, 3 on the side plus 2 from the corner. Yeah, one single crochet on each side. So you just continue around, and then you slip stitch into this first single crochet. Your round 3 will be finished, and we meet again for round 4. In round 4 we have a small repeat. So starting with chain 1 and then single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the corner space. We start our repeat with single crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch. So that's the repeat again. Single crochet, very small repeat, single crochet in the back loop only, and we end with 1 single crochet. And then we are in the corner here. So on this side you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches plus the corner stitches from each side, so that's 7 stitches altogether. Repeat around, slip stitch into the first single crochet, and meet me back for round 5. In round 5 we have a special stitch, which is a treble to a 1B, and we start with this treble to a 1B, which what that means is this would be our next stitch. This is our working stitch. From here we count 2A, 2 ahead, 1, 2, and 1B, 1 round below. This is the front loop that's in there. I've marked it with a stitch marker for you to see, and you can use stitch markers to just easier find those front loops, but I would also love to encourage you to learn how to just see them where they are as they are, because they're very distinct. You see there those horizontal lines, so they're quite easy to find. So we start with a treble to a 1B. So yarn over twice for the treble, insert the hook in the indicated front loop, pull through, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through the last 2 loops. Okay, so now we've worked a stitch in the front, which means that we have to skip the stitch that is behind this one, otherwise we would have an increase, which we don't want. So we skip this stitch behind here, so that's the one we skip, and we work 5 single crochet starting from the next stitch. And that is 5 single crochet, and then we end the round as we started it with a treble, but this time not to A but to B, 2 stitches behind. So this is the round we count in. So 1, 2 stitches behind, 1 round below. Here's our next front loop that we have to work in. So we go back, we go behind, and then work our treble into that front loop. And again we have to skip the stitch that is behind there. It is not specifically stated in the pattern, because I am assuming that you read the stitch collection and the introduction, which says that those stitches need to be skipped. Okay, and then we go directly into the corner. Okay, so on this side we have 9 stitches altogether, which is the 7 stitches here between those corners plus the single crochet on each side of the corner. So yeah, just go ahead and work around, slip stitch into the first single crochet and meet me back in round 6. So here we are in round 6, which is a very easy round, and I consider all these rounds quite easy, and also this as an easy square. So finding the first stitch after the corner, we start with a single crochet into that first stitch. Then we make a DCBB, that's a double crochet behind and below. So remember we had this treble in the previous round, so now we have to make a double crochet into that stitch that is behind. So you see we skipped the stitch, so we have those loops available to us here, those loops here, and we just make a double crochet into them. So technically there are 2 rounds below, which is one of the reasons why we have a DC. We just want to close the gap behind this treble here, and it also helps to bring out the stitch definition. And then just another 5 single crochet, for 5, and then we are at the treble again, and we make another double crochet behind and below. Can you see, if you look like that, then you can see them peeking through. So those are the loops that we want to go in. Yeah, very easy to find. Okay, and we have 1 single crochet before we are back in the corner. So that's it already for round 6. As usual, pause and continue to work the same on the other 3 sides, and then slip stitch into the first single crochet of the corner, and we meet again in round 7. I've already done the chain 1, so I just have to do the corner of round 7. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Make sure you find the first stitch, because even though you skip it, it's important that you know which one you're going to skip. We start with a front post treble 2A 2B. So treble means yarn over twice, and then we count from this current stitch. We count 1, 2 ahead, and 1, 2 rounds below. So in the previous round we made the DCBB, and 2 rounds below we made this treble. So this is the treble we work around that we made 2 rounds below. So front post and make a treble. So now it's good to know which is the stitch that we need to skip. This one. So in the next stitch we start a little, from the next stitch we start a little repeat, which is a single crochet in the back loop of the next stitch, and again three more times, single crochet in the back loop, single crochet in the back loop, one more time, single crochet in the back loop, and 1 single crochet. We started with a front post, so we are ending with a front post. So now we're going to be 2 stitches behind, 1, 2, that was the DC we made in the previous round. So 1, 2 stitches below, 2B, 2B, 2 behind, 2 below. That's the front post around the treble from round 5. And don't worry if those loops should be a bit bigger when you make them from trebles and the like. Because you see we work around those with front posts, you don't even see them, so there's nothing to worry about. So now we have to skip the stitch behind again, which means we work directly into the corner with our corner single crochet. So in round 7 you should have 13 stitches all together, meaning 11 stitches here between those corners, including each of the single crochets from the corner, so one from each side. Okay, again, of course, repeat on the other 3 sides, slip stitch into the first single crochet of the corner, which is this one, and meet me in round 8. Round 8 is again very relaxed, easy and straightforward. So after the corner, make sure you find the first stitch like that, and we single crochet into that first stitch, and now we have another DCBB again, a double crochet behind and below. So because we're working, you see those loops peeking through, we're working behind that treble from the previous round, that front post treble. We go into those empty loops from the stitch we skipped and work the double crochet into them. And now we just have to make 9 single crochet across. And 9. There we go. And there is another double crochet behind and below. See them peeking through? Here we go, those loops. Those are the ones we want. And we double crochet into them. And now there is 1 single crochet left before the corner, and here is the corner again. Okay, very easy, very simple. Crochet on the other sides and on the other 3 sides, and slip stitch into the first of the single crochets in the corner. Meet me back in round 9. So back in round 9 we will have 2 special stitches, which is 1 special stitch but mirrored, so it will be worked differently. But first we start with a single crochet into the first stitch after the corner, and then we have that special stitch. It is called a front post treble 2 together, and what it means is we work 2 stitches together with 2 legs, and the first leg goes around the front post treble from 1 stitch ahead. This is the current stitch, 1 ahead, 2 rounds below. So 1 round below was the DC we made, and 2 rounds below was the front post treble from round 7. So this is the first leg, and then the second leg goes into the stitch into the front loop of the stitch that is 3 ahead from the current, 1, 2, 3 ahead, and 2 rounds below, 1, 2. See, so there is the front loop we made, and we start with the front post part of the leg, so yarn over twice, and then insert the hook under the treble, and then we just make a treble, but we don't finish it, leaving 2 loops on the hook, yarn over twice again, and then we find that front loop. It is the first front loop of those 4 that we made earlier, you know, the 4 repeats we had, so it's the first of those front loops. We insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through 2 and pull through 2, and now we pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Because we have made a stitch in the front now, we have to skip the stitch that is behind that. So our next stitch will go in here. Yeah, see, so we worked into this stitch, we skip this, and we insert into the next. And we start here to make 11 single crochet. Remember those squares, they're always symmetrical. So by now you're in the middle of the side, and later on you will be making a mirrored version of this stitch, which is what I said, it's basically one stitch, but because it's mirrored we have to work it differently. It is like a second stitch. And of course, because I talked, I lost my stitch count and just have to quickly go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and one more. Or alternatively, I could have counted backwards. So I need to have 1 single crochet at the end, skip 1 stitch, which is replaced by this front post 2 together. So I'm in the right position. So my next stitch is that treble, front post treble together. So now the first leg goes into the front loop of the stitch, 3 behind and 2 rounds below, which is the last front loop of those groups we made earlier. So this was the first, this is going to be the last. So the first part of this 2 together is the treble leg into the front loop, leaving 2 loops on the hook, yarn over twice again. And now the second part is, like here, the one where we go around the treble. So that's the front post treble part of the stitch. And that happens when you work with cotton. Always have a bit that is splitty. Okay, so again we skip the stitch behind, and our last stitch goes into the one just before the corner, and here we are in the corner. So in round 9 you will have 17 stitches altogether, the 11 single crochet, then the 2 front post trebles together, and a single crochet before or after them, plus 1 single crochet from the corner. So now repeat, rewind if you need to, repeat on the other 3 sides, slip stitch into the first stitch of the corner, and meet me in round 10. So we are now in round 10, and we started with a chain 1 and then single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the corner space. Make sure to find the first single crochet, the first stitch after the corner, and start with 2 single crochet. And then we have a DCBB, a double crochet behind and below the treble 2 together from round 9. So we just find those 2 front loops that were peeking through there, and close the gap with a double crochet. We skip the stitch in front, of course, and then another 2 single crochet. So now let's look at the special stitch that is going to come. So it's called a treble, double treble 2 together, and the first leg of these 2 stitches together goes into the front loop that is 3 rounds below the next stitch. This is our current stitch, and we go 1, 2, 3 rounds below, and that is the same leg as the same front loop in which we made the second leg in the previous round. Okay, so we yarn over twice for the treble part of this stitch, insert the hook in that same front loop, and almost finish the treble. Leave 2 loops on the hook and now yarn over thrice. And you have already noticed that I've marked the next front loop with a stitch marker, so you could also count ahead from the current stitch from here. So this is the stitch we worked last into. This is the current stitch. 1, 2 ahead, 1, 2, 3 rounds below. So that is the front loop we work into. Or it's just the next front loop that is available, that is free. Okay, so in this one we make the double treble leg of this stitch. 1, 2, 3 times through 2 loops, and then through all 3 loops. So now we skip the stitch that is behind, which is this one, and we single crochet into the next and 4 more. So 5 single crochet starting from the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we have the same stitch just mirrored. So our first leg is now the double treble leg, and it goes into the stitch from this working stitch. 1, 2 behind, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3 below. So the one that is the last front loop that is available, that's free, completely free. So yarn over 3 times for the double treble, insert the hook into this front loop, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2, and leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over twice, and now we find the next front loop in which we made the first leg of this double treble 2 in the previous round. So that's this one. So they share a front loop. And now we go through all 3, and we skip the stitch that is behind this double treble, which is this one, and we make 2 single crochets in the next, we make 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then we're back at this double treble, which means we make a DC behind and below, and you can just push these aside to quickly and easily find those front loops. And just make a DC behind and below. And we skip again the stitch that is in front of this DCBB, and we have 2 single crochets left before we are back in the corner. So it looks a bit complicated, but you just have to count and just, see the bigger picture. We're going to make a crown, so we are having shared front loops here and here. To each side there is a leg that goes in one front loop that is empty, and the other leg, either the first or the second goes into a shared front loop. So that's all you need to be aware of in this round, and you should have 19 stitches all together. So starting here with the 2 single crochet, then the DC behind 2 single crochet, then the special stitch 5 single crochet, special stitch 2 single crochet, DC behind 2 single crochet, and 1 from each corner. So that's 19 stitches altogether. So go ahead, repeat on the other 3 sides, slip stitch into the first single crochet from the corner, and meet me in round 11. So we are in round 11 now, and in this round we're going to have a special stitch again, which will close the main part of the crown. But before we do that, we have 3 single crochet, and if you have a look, you see those top loops of the double treble that we made in the round, not previously, but 2 rounds below. So in those top loops, we just grab those top loops and we make a 4 DC popcorn. Now if you like small popcorn stitches, then you can do only 3 double crochet. If you like big popcorns, big fat popcorns, you may want to make 5 or 6 double crochet before you take out the hook, insert it back into the top of the first double crochet, grab the loop again, pull it through and close with a chain 1. Well, that's how we do the popcorn stitches. There are methods how to close the popcorn differently, where you don't have to take out the hook, you just turn your work, but I find this the easiest. You skip the stitch that is behind the popcorn, and from here we have 2 single crochet, a DC behind and below the stitch from the previous round, that special stitch, to close the gap and to bring the design a bit forward. Then another 2 single crochet. Now we have a double treble, 1A, 4B, 2 together. So let's look at the stitch. So 1A means we go 1 ahead, and 1B means we go 1 behind from the next stitch, from the current working stitch. So this is our current working stitch. This would be 1 ahead, this would be 1 behind. And we go down 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So 1 ahead, 1 behind means we are back in those front loops in which we made those double treble legs in the previous round. Yeah, so we are sharing a front loop again. So let's yarn over 3 times and go into this first front loop, make a double treble leg, and then yarn over again 3 times, go into the next front loop and make another double treble leg. So go through 2, go through 2, go through 2. Now we have 3 loops on the hook. We go through all 3, and this stitch is now exactly in the middle of your side. So from here on we do the same as we did here in reverse order. So we skip the stitch that is behind the one we just made, which is now in the middle. You should have 2 stitches left before this double treble. In each of them we have a single crochet, so that's correct. Then we have a DC behind that special stitch from the previous round. We skip the one in front, that special stitch. We'll make another 2 single crochet, and we make another popcorn into the top loops of that special stitch from 2 rounds below. And again, I am making a 4 DC popcorn because that is the size that I find most appealing, and you can do bigger or smaller ones if that is what you prefer. So you can certainly be flexible. So take the hook out, 1, 2, 3, 4 back. So in the first of those double crochet groups, pull through and close with a chain 1, skipping the stitch behind. We finish with 3 single crochet. Oops, 1, 2, 3. So in case you are not sure which one, whether you skipped the right amount of single crochets, you just count back from the corner. So this is the corner, you count back 1, 2, 3 single crochets, and that's where you make your first, and then of course the corner single crochet. Alrighty, so that's all for round 11. Again, this may look a bit complicated, but you see, when you follow, it's really simple. You just need to count and make sure you skip the stitches behind here and here and here. Have the DCs here. So it's very simple and easy stitches. Okay, so now repeat on the other 3 sides, and then close with a slip stitch and meet me for round 12. And just like that, we are in round 12 already. So we start round 12 after the corner with 4 single crochet. 3 and 4, and then a DC BB, a double crochet behind the popcorn from the previous round. So we find those loops and we double crochet, and then we find the next stitch, which is this one. So this is the closing chain of the popcorn, and this is the next stitch, and from this 2 single crochet, and now we are making another popcorn. You see, we've got those front loops available from the special stitch 2 rounds below from round 10, and we'll make another popcorn into those loops, those top loops. And you may have noticed that the square seems to be quite wobbly, and that it may seem like this is never going to be straight, but it really will. So even in the Aran weight yarn, the Drops Paris, which is very big, you see, can't even fit it. It's a very big one, and it lies completely flat. I do believe that this has been blocked already, but you see, it's completely flat, and it will be a really nice square. So don't worry about the wobbly parts for the moment. It will straighten itself out at the latest after blocking. So we skip the stitch behind the popcorn. We have another 2 single crochet, and then we DC behind the popcorn stitch. So this is actually a repeat. We had the DC behind here, then we have 2 single crochet, and then the popcorn, and then 2 single crochet. We have the same repeat again, so starting with the DC behind, then 2 single crochet, a popcorn stitch, the thing working with cotton, you sometimes have surprising things coming up, and that's 4 double crochet, closing with a chain 1, and skip the stitch behind the popcorn and 2 single crochet again. So that is the second repeat that we started with a DC behind, 2 single, popcorn, 2 single, DC behind, 2 single, popcorn, 2 single. Then we have another DC behind, and we finish with 4 single crochet. If you are unsure which is the next stitch to work into, just count back from the corner. So that's a corner, 1, 2, 3. The 4th from the corner is your first of the 4 single crochet group. And that is your side finished of round 12. Okay, as always, rewind if you need to and finish the other 3 sides, slip stitch into the first single crochet of the corner, and meet me in round 13. When you work the single crochets or any stitches in round 13, just be aware that in round 14 we're going to work in the 3rd loop, which means a good idea is either to use a bigger hook size for this round, to use a smaller hook size for the next round, or to make an effort to work the single crochets in this round really loosely so that they're not so tight in the next round. Or you could make half double crochets in this round. If you choose this option, you should do that for all the squares because it may alter the height of your round. But if you do the HDCs, then it will be very easy to do the 3rd loops in the next round. Just do it on all squares then to make it look a bit more unison. If you want to. We're not there yet. We're still in round 13. So we start with 8 single crochet. Make sure that you find the first. And then we just do 8 single crochet. Those 8 single crochet will bring you just before the first popcorn we made in the previous round, and here we make a DC BB again, a double crochet behind and below. And then we have 2 single crochet, and we make a popcorn into the top loops of the special stitch from 2 rounds below, from round 11. And this popcorn is exactly in the middle of our side, as is this double treble together. So I've got 3 and another one, So 4 double crochet, bring together as a popcorn and close with a chain 1. Now we have another 2 single crochet because we're going with the stitches in reverse order. We're on the second half of the side, a DC behind and below, and 8 single crochet towards the corner. And here we are in the corner. Alrighty, so you see, nothing spectacular, a very easy round, single crochet, DC behind, and a popcorn stitch. So repeat on the other 3 sides, slip stitch into the first single crochet, and meet me for round 14. Remember to work this loosely, or with one of the other methods that I mentioned earlier. So now we are in round 14. I've already made the chain 1. Now the single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the corner space. And however you want to work, whether you want to do the back post single crochet or the single crochet into the 3rd loops, you're going to make 12 of them. So let me go with you to it looks like I have not made them loose enough myself. 4, 5, 6, 7, almost there, getting there. 8, 9, this one's a bit fiddly. 9, this one's loose. 10. I think from here on I remembered to work loosely myself. Let's go. So double checking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we are at the popcorn, or just before the popcorn, and instead of trying a 3rd loop, which would be quite difficult, we're going to DC behind and below this popcorn, and after that just continue with the single crochet into the 3rd loop. I too will be working around all 4 sides, slip stitch into the first of the single crochets from the corner, and then we continue with round 15. In round 15 we have a small repeat that starts directly after we make the corner with 1 single crochet in the back loop only, of the next 3 stitches. Then 3 single crochet. And we repeat this 4 times. So the next is again single crochet in the back loop only of the next 3 stitches, and then single crochet in both loops in the next 3. So 3 back loop, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 both loops. And again 3 back loops, and 3 both loops. And we finish with 3 single crochet in the back loop only. So very quick, especially after doing round 14. So just continue on all 3 other sides and slip stitch into the first single crochet of the corner, and I see you back in round 16. Round 16 is equally easy as round 15, in fact even easier, because all we do is we single crochet across. So starting in the first after the corner, make sure you find it, and from here just single crochet across. You should have 29 stitches plus the 2 stitches on each side of the corner. So that'll be 31 stitches altogether. So when you've done the single crochet around all the way, we do a slip stitch into the first of the single crochets in the corner, and then we meet again in round 17. Round 17 is a simple round consisting of single crochet and trebles, and all trebles we make in round 17 are made in the front loop of the stitch 2 rounds below from round 15. Remember we had those repeats, 3 single crochet in back loop, 3 single crochet. Those are the front loops we work in. So we start with 2 single crochet, and then there is a repeat, which is 3 treble. So 1 treble in each of the front loops. If you find treble to be too long for the way you make them, try half trebles, or maybe just generously long double crochet. Now, because again we have worked in the front, we have to skip 3 stitches behind. 1, 2, 3, and in those 3 we make 3 single crochet. So that is a repeat that goes all the way across, and when you're at the end, so if you repeat that continuously until the end, 3 treble, 3 single crochet, 3 treble, single crochet, treble, single crochet, treble, single crochet, you will have 3 trebles left, and then you have 2 single crochet. Remember, everything is symmetrical, so this is the middle treble group. So it means that from here you're just working the stitches on this side in reverse order from here. So you start here and then you go in reverse order for the second half. And since we started with 2 single crochet and then 3 trebles, that's also how we end. So just repeat that across for the rest of this side of round 16, and on the other 3 sides slip stitch into the first single crochet of the corner, and then we meet for round 18. Almost there. We are in round 18 now, and here again we have a small repeat, starting with 3 single crochet, 3, and then we have 3 DCBB, so 1 DC in each of the top loops behind and below the treble from the previous round. And I am deliberately choosing to leave those trebles open and not to close them, and then 3 single crochet again here, because if I did that, so for example instead of making a DC behind, if I did single crochet in the top of those trebles here from the previous round and would just continue, then it would look quite different. It's also still a 3D effect, but I believe that the open trebles, which these are closed because we make the single crochet, and these are open because we DC behind, will make it more three-dimensional. If you have a look at the sample here, so these are all open, and I believe that they are quite three-dimensional, which is the effect that I wanted to get. These represent, if you, in case you're wondering, these 3 trebles, they represent the 3 treble, 3 single. That pattern here represents the chessboard. Maybe you already got that. So that's a representation of the chessboard. And yeah, so the repeat is 3 DCBB and then 3 single crochet. And you do that 4 times all together. So we started with a 3 single and then 1 repeat, 2 repeats, and you just do that 3, 4, and then you end with 3 DCBB and 3 single crochet in the end. Yeah, again, just keep in mind that this is the middle. From here, from the second DCBB, we work in reverse order for the second half of the side, and work that all the way around, slip stitch into the first single crochet of the corner, and then we are in our last round for this square, round 19, in case you're doing the border, because the border will be the first round of, well, round 20 will be the first round of the border, and round 19 in that case will be the last round of this inner square. And we meet for that once you've finished all 3 sides, and me too, and then I'll see you then. We start with round 19, I'd love to just quickly show you the difference between doing the DC BBs, which I've done in this round, this side and on this side, and doing single crochet across, so which I've done on these two sides. So if you want to compare, this is DCBB and this is single crochet across. So whichever way you prefer, that's how you would have worked round 18. And in round 19 it is a very super simple round, because you either make single crochet across again, but then of course you would go into the DCBBs and leave these ones open, or on this side of course you just go across. Or if you find it really difficult to do the third loops, you can do the same as you did here in round 13. If you did the HDC instead of the single crochet, maybe you want to do this again, or alternatively, if you want to do back post single crochet instead of the third loops, that's fine too. So whichever you choose, if you want to do the back post single crochet in round 20, so in round 19 you have a choice to make very loose single crochet across, or to make HDCs, which you don't have to make very loose because the third loop is very easy to find if that's what you want to do for round 20. And you could also use a bigger hook, like same as in round 13. You could use a bigger hook for this round, so that your single crochet are a little bit easier to work into in round 20. Or you could use the normal hook for this round and then a smaller hook for round 20. So really, you have a few choices, but nothing big, nothing really complicated. So whichever way you want to work round 19, it will affect round 20 of course. And round 19 is the last round before we start the border. The border officially starts in round 20, but in case you don't want to work a border at all and you just want to have this inner part of the square, then you should just do round 20, and that will be your last round of the inner square. Otherwise, round 19, single crochet across and slip stitch into the first single crochet of the corner. In case you want to swap colors for the border, this will be the last round. Round 19 will be the last round in your current round, and then you can start to make round 20 in a different color. So just cut the yarn, weave in the ends, and start the border or round 20 in a different color. In case you don't want to work the border, round 20 here will be your last round for the inner part of the square, and if you do want to make the border, round 20 will be the first round of the border pattern. So whichever you choose, either finish round 20 here for the inner square, or meet me for round 20 to work the border. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you found it helpful. If you did, please subscribe to the channel and you get notified of any new videos I'm going to upload. And if you did not, then please let me know so I can make the next one better. Talk soon and bye for now.